In this episode, we are going back to the Ayesha Curry drama that started a few weeks ago. An old clip has surfaced of Kevin Samuels talking about Ayesha Curry, and people are predicting that this may be the future. So what we did is we put in the Kevin Samuels clip, and we actually went through the Ayesha Curry interview to find the parts that are actually important to what he said and what other people are saying. This is gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be sort of long. Y'all asked for it. Now here it go.
Shout out to Che for bringing this up. Here you go. This for you. Push play.
I am so excited to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there right now. I'm really nervous to be here.
Wait, why?
I'm so excited.
Oh my God, Ayesha.
Yeah, so I'm just grateful. I'm excited. Hoping I don't get in trouble for the things that I say.
I feel like
You
we're
know?
going to have good girl talk.
Yeah,
I'm not
I
going
think
to
so too.
you're not in a hot seat. Like you.
Yeah, I know.
4 kids. Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals. And I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's like, it's one of those things like you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
Well, it's so interesting you say that because I want to talk a lot about that today because I relate to you.
I don't know how old they were when they got married.
22, as I found out in this interview.
Oh, okay. I mean, that is young.
That is very young.
I mean, we got married young too.
Yes, we did.
But
Not that young.
I think
You got married that young. I didn't get married that young. I was able to be out in the streets.
Really?
I was out in the highway. I was shaking it fast for cash, girl.
No, I was gonna say, but I think it just depends on your mentality. Everyone is different. It is young, but depending on how you were raised, I think, and your environment and your mentality. Some people, it tends to be women, are very mature for their age. So it's possible. Certain things you know that you want. You may not have everything figured out. You know, Lord knows I still don't have everything figured out. But it's certain things I feel as though you do know that you want.
So since I actually watched more than a clip, I watched almost the entire video. She dropped a lot of her past and why she is where she is and why her mentality was the way it was at the time it was.
Okay.
This is what she was raised to do.
Okay.
Her family was so focused on her doing this thing that she didn't really have much of a life outside of it.
Okay.
Instead of hanging out with her friends, building relationships, that's what was programmed into her mind. So she was focused on that.
Okay.
So this is the person that you're talking about. And then Steph Curry came in like a truck and was like, forget all your plans, you know. These were not plans that were just put in her head by her.
Right.
Her family pushed her into this and she was like, oh, I actually love this. This is amazing. It's so much fun. It's great. I really like it.
Right.
So it became a passion of hers that was imposed upon her by her family because they felt that she had potential to do it. Everything that's happened to her since, this is where it comes from.
Okay.
Relate to you in that way. Like I really, really never thought I was going to get married. I'm like, there is actually no way that's ever going to happen. And then it happens and you're like, maybe I didn't know myself that well. And it's like, no, you knew yourself when you were young.
Yes.
And then life happens and then you grow up and then you have different wants and needs and that's okay to change your mind.
Yes.
But it's still shocking.
It's still shocking.
Okay, wait.
One thing that I saw a lot of people totally overlooked is her saying, this is what I thought I wanted, but the reality is when you're young, you don't know what you want. And the host sort of echoed it and it was just like, okay, you know what you want when you're young, but when you become older and you experience a little bit more of life, you see that there are other things that are more important. People completely ignore that and they stuck to the whole, I didn't want kids, I didn't want to be married and all of that other stuff. One thing I will say about the red pill, and I'm forever mad at you guys for not letting me in there.
Really?
I'm always going to be upset.
Want to be in a community?
No, first of all, I wanted to be a part of a community. I'm out here by myself. It's cold out here. I can't be a feminist. I can't be in the manosphere. What do I have? I'm just me and my family out here cold, bucket naked.
Bucket naked.
Wait, no, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. So here's the thing about that whole situation. The red pill, and it's not really red pill, because the red pill ideology is not really about what a lot of people online say it's about.
Okay.
It's simply the understanding of the relationship dynamics between men and women and how biology, society, and social norms play into that and inform how men and women react and interact with each other. And despite what society does, there are certain biological markers that override it. And women may say they want one thing, but the reality is they're always attracted to something else biologically, which is why they want the guy who's 6 foot, the guy who could provide, the guy who's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more manly and masculine. Even if you're like, society says as a feminist, I shouldn't like that because it's toxic. You're still attracted to it. And even though that guy won't necessarily make you his wife, you're letting him hit it because you're attracted to that manly, masculine part biologically. That's the type of stuff that the red pill ideology or mindset is really about. I think they said it's a practology, not an ideology, whatever. It's not really about what other people make it about, but the red pill community, who has become a community that is actually more man-focused, man-centered. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a specific phrase. There are men's advocates. That's what the red pill sort of has morphed into. They sort of come out and want to always defend men. Here's the thing. They will kill and destroy a woman for wanting a perfect man, but yet they all seem to want a perfect woman. That's one of the things. That's right, we enemies for life. I applied, y'all turned down my application, and for that reason, I'm coming for you. I'm joking. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next clip. Unless you have something to say, you can do that while I get the next clip.
Okay, can we talk about, so you graduated high school early to move to LA to start your acting career.
Yeah.
Tell me about like coming out to LA, what early ambitions did you have for yourself, and like what did you want?
It's interesting because I don't ever, I think, get the opportunity to kind of talk about my life before my life now. And so yeah, I graduated high school a year early. At the time I was living in North Carolina, and I'd been in the industry since I was 3 years old. I was always working. Commercial, print, like doing TV stuff, always. So other kids were at like soccer, doing the extracurriculars, and I was on a set working. And so it was second nature for me. And quite honestly, growing up, the only thing that I thought I could do. And so I would enter all of these competitions. I entered this one in North Carolina, and they were like, hey, move to LA. And I grew up, I think it's really important to preface, I grew up in like the most strict environment, like didn't get to go to high school football games, didn't get to really hang out with my friends, damn sure couldn't like walk around the mall by myself. But when these people were like, hey, you want to move to LA? They were like, yeah, go.
Your parents were like, have fun, honey. You're like,
go. Like, you're going to do it. And I appreciate it because that means they believed in me so much. But at the same time, our entire family was like, this is crazy. Like, you can't even carpool.
Okay, wait, you starting at 3, was it because like your mom just saw something in you? Like
the story is, because obviously I have no recollection. We were in a grocery store and a talent agent said, oh, she should be in commercials. And so it started from there and then kept going. And
when you started working that young and then kind of became aware of it, like, did you love it? Like,
I loved it. Okay. I loved it. Eat, sleep, breathe.
Okay. So you come from the strict family. Then you get on a plane after graduating high school early. So you're what, 17?
Yeah, I was 17. My dad set me up for like a month. I got an apartment, ridiculously expensive. So I was shocked. Had to pick up 3 jobs. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch and a farmer's market on the weekends to like just to be able to make that happen.
Yep. And I feel like when you have the dream of LA and acting or modeling or getting into this industry, like naturally rejection comes with that.
Oh God.
When you came out to LA, what was your self-confidence like before you started like really getting maybe some no's?
I think because I came from the small town, I was like, oh, I got this. And then I got out here. And I remember the first couple of like cattle call auditions being like, every single person in here looks exactly like me. Like these are like, we're carbon copies of each other. Like, what's going to set you apart? And so I think early on, I was like, wow, I've got to diversify my portfolio a little bit.
Right, because in North Carolina, you're like, there's like 3 of us in theater that are crushing. And then you get out to LA and they're like, bitch, this is your first audition. Like, this is my 900. Like, yes, get in the back of the line. You're like,
and I'm walking in and I'm like, hello. And they're all like, why is this girl talking to us?
Okay, I just wanted to stop because it gave the background that a lot of people are not
familiar with.
So I wanted to give you guys all of the information.
No, I just thought it was interesting. Like, I had never heard that or never knew anything about her backstory before. I just think that it's interesting.
Yeah, keep on watching because we have one of the things that has brought this back up because this is like a month-old story. People were talking about it like 2-3 weeks ago. Old clip of Kevin Samuels resurfaced talking about her specifically and her situation with Steph. And this is what has reignited the Ayesha Curry conversation again this week. So we do have that coming up, but I'm trying to give you guys some background and some understanding by taking some of the clips out of the hour-long podcast that'll give you some idea of who she is and the way she thinks and stuff like that.
Is like rich.
Pausing on you as a couple. Now let's talk about you as an individual though, because you had this dream. And did you feel like in moving with him, did you feel like you had to pick between your career and your relationship at that point?
Yes. To an extent. That was never presented in front of me that way. It just kind of had to be that way. And because after we got married, we found out we were pregnant with our daughter so quickly, I didn't even have time to think about what I wanted anymore. It's so interesting. I spent my entire life like trying to work towards something, and then it kind of just disappeared, and I didn't think twice about it. But after my daughter turned 1, I remember there being a shift and being like, I have goals for myself. Like, this doesn't feel right. I love being a mom, but I love doing other things too. And I need to get my shit together and figure out what that looks like for myself now.
Okay, rewind 2 steps.
Yeah.
Married at 22.
Yeah.
How did you know you were ready for that?
I didn't. I just knew that I loved him, and I'd never like experienced anything else. I'd never felt any differently than like, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so we kind of just dove in. And
did anyone or you or Steph or anyone have any hesitations about like, oh, we're getting married in our early 20s or no?
No. And I say this all the time to our family. I'm like, you guys, like 22. I'm like, you guys, I'm like, not a single parent. Nobody was like, hey guys, are you sure? Everybody was like, no, this is what's happening. And we love you and we love you. And it's going to be great. It's just like, wow. Totally. Like when I really look at it.
I just wanted to give some background on her making her decision. You have something to say?
I thought that was interesting what they just brought up. The fact that they were so young and like neither one of their parents had objections to it. I found that to be very interesting.
Sounded familiar.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because we live in a society. It's all right. Jay kicked the camera. We'll be all right. We live in a society where we don't take the time to really listen to the wisdom of our elders. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, you know, she this and she that, or she ain't have a whole phase, so that's why she about to leave him.
Ayesha Curry is a perfect example of why it is so important to have a whole phase. Go be a hoe. Be a safe. Like, protect yourself and don't get pregnant. That's why she's sitting over there feeling trapped with Steph Curry. Sometimes you got to go through some stuff to really appreciate what you have. She probably ain't never been drugged through the mud by a dude. She probably never had a heartbroken time and time again. That's why she can't really appreciate what she has, because it's like, I need something edgy. I need something fun. Like this mom stuff, this being married to Steph Curry, this boring.
The older generation knows a lot more than we do. Yes, we are advancing in technology and everything like that or what have you, but certain basic life lessons and skills, they understand, like, you should not have a whole face.
That's dumb.
Okay, that's number one. We talk about this all the time on this channel. If you're new here, go check out all of our other videos. You'll be able to hear this. But every time basically you sleep with someone, you are connecting yourself to that person. And the more you do that, the less of a chance you have with being able to, when you're ready, when you decide you're done with your whole phase and now you want to settle down. And that goes for men and women, it's not just women. This happens to both men and women. Let me be clear. The more you decide to go around and have a whole phase, you are not going to be able to connect with your spouse the way God intended you to, because your peer bonding is all shot. I forgot what it is statistically. Like
after five for women, after 7 for men, your ability to be satisfied in your marriage drops by 80%.
Damn.
And your likelihood of divorce increases exponentially.
Yes. So while our parents and our parents' parents are the older generation waited, while they may not have had the statistics to back that, they understood and knew that no, you don't need to be going around there sleeping around. You done found somebody. Y'all love each other. Go ahead and get married and work it out, because they understand that the best relationships, you guys have to go through stuff together. It's difficult when you're set in your ways and you're older and you have all this life experience and you want things to be a certain way, for you to now bring somebody else into the picture and expect for everything to be happily ever after. Not saying it can't happen, but it's a lot harder to. Whereas when you're starting out your adult life and you don't necessarily have a whole bunch of baggage with past relationships or bodies, if you're sleeping around, and you don't have all these expectations and different things of that nature, when you find someone and you come together with them and the two of you guys go through these different life experiences together, it bonds you and it strengthens your relationship so that you can go through life together, because life is going to happen regardless of how old you are when you get married. But if you're building a firm foundation with your spouse when you guys are much younger and you're going through life together, you're growing up together and you're growing in life. And I feel like you have a higher probability of you having a long lasting marriage when you are literally going through life together from the beginning in your adult life.
So I tend to agree with that. The thing is, our mindsets are so jacked up that a lot of times when we get married young like that, we miss not having, a whole phase or not being out there in the streets. Because
that's what society tells us you're supposed to do.
And because our mindsets are so jacked up, the divorce rates now show that the people with the lowest rate of divorce are actually people who get married in their 30s, people who are college educated. Number 2 is people who don't even have a high school diploma. If you have today's mindset, don't even get a high school diploma, or you get a high school diploma, wait until you're 30 something and you're desperate for love and your time has come, that now I can actually do it. Because while being college educated and being in your 30s has the lowest rate of divorces right now, when you look at the divorce rates on the other side of the people being divorced, of the women who are college educated, they take up 90% of the divorces. So there's a other side of it where it's like, if you're college educated, because you slept around, or your career first, or you have higher expectations than most people on the planet can actually fulfill, you become unsatisfied with your mate. And here's the bad part. It doesn't matter who they are. You will probably never be satisfied. And that's the reason why a lot of people are getting on Ayesha Curry, both men and women, because they're like, you have the life. You have access, which she does speak about in this very video. If you want something more, you could get a nanny or nannies because you have the money and go and get it. If you ain't did it now, it's because you're making decisions, or you're slacking, or you're lazy. Don't blame him. Don't blame the marriage. That's all you, right? Which she sort of did. No, she said, it was me. I have to get off my I have to get off. No, I'm saying,
was she blaming the marriage? Or
I don't think she was blaming him. People were just upset because she was basically saying that I never wanted to be married. I never really wanted this life. I wanted to be the career woman. And the men took that and ran off, and then the women took it and ran the other way and was like, oh, you should have had the whole phase. And they're like, oh, you don't deserve anything. There's nothing we could do to please a woman. Even if we were rich, she wouldn't be. This is what I'm saying, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is exactly what we're talking about. You cannot make these women satisfied no matter what you do. No. You can't. If you're out of purpose, you off. And if you off, you're gonna blame your relationship, because that is the center of your happiness.
Bad idea.
Relationships, marriage, were never meant to be the center of your happiness. If you are unhappy in your marriage and it's making your entire life miserable, it's because the rest of your life is not in purpose. You're off on all fronts and you're blaming your marriage for your lack. It's you. I don't care if you're a man or it's you. And I can tell you that from experience, because I went through the same thing. I was walking around depressed, had anxiety, I had all of these issues, started to become discontent in my marriage. It was never my wife's fault. She didn't do anything but try to support me. I was off. And when I started to get myself together, guess what happened to my marriage? It's you.
It's you.
So we need to stop trying to blame everybody else for our crap, because most of us are only about making money. And guess what? It's empty. Making money just for the sake of making money so you can have stuff is empty. And we used to know this, but we're lost now.
Well.
So Uncle Jay gonna let y'all know. But there's another side. Okay. And there's a reason I played that particular clip.
Okay.
Because one of the things that has brought this whole situation back was a old Kevin Samuels clip that everybody found. Shout out to Chisha Zed, because the clip that I found was because you found the Kevin Samuels clip, and you also put a bunch of other clips in here together. So I want to say shout out to Chisha Zed, because I want to acknowledge his work, because he obviously put a lot of work into his video. It will be linked down in the description for those of you who want to check it out.
All right.
Because if there's nothing I can say, he wasn't married, but the brother was wise. Being divorced and in that relationship taught him a lot. Check this out.
I've seen it so often. I've counseled with guys through divorce care, through Christian ministries, through breakups, through so many things. And I've seen so many guys that have actually married a woman they absolutely adore, but the woman thinks she's better than you. And ultimately, she's jealous of you. Avoid women who think they are better than you, because you can never make them happy. And here's the thing. As your success continues to rise, their anger, their resentment, their animosity towards you will continue to rise. So outwardly, people look at you and say, she's so lucky to have this man. He's a multimillionaire, a good family man, all these other things. And all she's sitting there and saying, it should be me. I'm better than him. This really runs deep, especially in women who are failed actresses and failed models. When you meet a woman who is a struggling local actress, struggling local model, attractive, but she just doesn't have that it factor. You can kick it with her, you can date her, you can hang out with her, but do not make any kind of commitment to her. And for God's sake, don't marry her or have any children. Because one, she is always going to have in her mind, any kind of weight I put on, anything that happens is going to potentially hurt this non-existent career she's dreaming about, this fame that she wants, this thing that she cannot have. And especially if you're like Seth Curry and you actually attained it. He married his high school sweetheart. He was a teenage boy and she was a teenage girl. That 15-year-old boy was ecstatic to have that gorgeous girl, because she actually grew into her womanness before he grew into his manness. He has finally grown into his man's body, into his man's mind, and become the man a lot of people saw in him. She's still looking at him as the same little boy who was blowing her kisses and kissing her ass as a teenager. And that's what you saw come out. That's what it is. It wasn't that she wants more attention. It wasn't that she wants more guys on her DM. She married a guy that she thinks she's better than. And honestly, she's jealous of him. She's jealous because I'm sitting at home, pumped out 3 kids, and he's on TV every day. He's getting all the fame. He's getting all the red carpet treatment. He's getting all this. And only time she gets attention is attention he deflects to her. We wouldn't know about Ayesha Curry if it wasn't for Steph. He tries to put her in the spotlight. He tries to put her front and center. And guess what? If she had what it takes, she'd already be there. And that's what's not being told. If she had anything that should make her a star or put her on that level, she'd be there. Will Smith married Jada Pinkett. Jada Pinkett had a modicum of success, but she was never nowhere close to being what Will was. Look at what Will tried to do with his son. He kept trying to push his son out there, but his son isn't Will. Well, guess what? Ayesha ain't Steph. Let me tell you what I feel is going to happen. I feel this is what's going to happen. She's going to end up divorcing him. It's going to get to a point to where it is intolerable. She's already made this faux pas. She's already put it out there. It's out in the ether, and she's getting drugged by men. And people are actually looking at her like, what the hell's wrong with you? So she's going to have to pipe down. She's not going to be able to say much about anything, but it is going to tear her apart, tear him apart, because at the end of the day, she thinks she's up here and she thinks he's down here. It is not going to change. She does not view Steph Curry as the NBA All-Star world champion basketball player. She views Steph Curry as this guy that her mom and dad, her parents told her, you need to marry and secure the bag. She didn't want to be there. She would have rather been a struggling actress in Hollywood, trying to get bit parts in commercials, trying to get pickups in TV, trying to be an extra here or trying to get a print commercial or something, while ended up dating whoever. Honestly, she'd have been happier that way. I know too many women like this. Trust me, I've seen this in my life. There are women like her who are above average looking. Let's be honest, she's not that fine. I mean, she's attractive, but she ain't model fine. She's not built for it, but she thinks she is. She can't even handle the overflow traffic she gets from her husband. What the hell makes her think she can handle it in the spotlight? But the problem is she's too close to the sun. She's close enough to where she actually thinks she could do just fine. And the bad thing is she's seen too many women kind of do this kind of thing. Look what Kamora Lee Simmons did. She actually has had a reasonably successful career, but she was a model, a supermodel in somebody's eyes, but a model nonetheless. What has Ayesha Curry done? Other than been married to Steph Curry. But that's not going to change anything. This is going to nag at her, nag at them until she ends up.
I don't know.
So that's the other part that's scary, and I'm going to acknowledge it. There's a part of me that wonders if she is going to be one of those, and if she's more modern-minded and she has modern-minded women around her, especially if they're single, this is something that becomes an issue.
Well, I was going to say that part. Who she has in her ear is definitely going to be key to whether or not that actually comes into fruition. I hope it doesn't. I pray it doesn't. From the little bit that I have seen of the interview thus far with her, I feel as though she's just trying to be very open and honest. From what I've heard thus far, to me, she didn't say anything wrong. She was just saying, like, listen, since I was 3, this is what I was doing, and that's what I thought my life was going to be. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And for her to say, like, she didn't want to get married or she didn't want to have kids or she didn't think about any of that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because
it's the truth.
It's the truth. And you don't know what you don't know. She said it got to a point, she met Steph, she loves him, and she's just like, okay, well, I don't see myself being with nobody else. She said she didn't have much life experience, so I'm assuming she didn't really have boyfriends maybe and stuff like that.
So I'll give back up for you guys who ain't gonna try to watch the video because it's like ill, yuck, girl romance stuff. She met him around 14, 15. They were in the same church and in the same school.
Oh, okay.
In the church, he was the man. She had a major crush on him, but didn't think that he would look at her and find her any type of romantic interest in her, because he was the jock from school and she's the the drama kid, and she was like, he ain't gonna like me.
That even makes so much more sense now. Why the parents was like, yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So he was a jock from school. He was Del Curry's son. So for people who actually knew, she did it. Because remember, earlier in the interview, they were closed off from certain things, and it was so strict in the house that she was not aware. The interviewer asked her, well, how was he in high school? Was he the man in high school too? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, to be honest, because he was in sports and I was so focused on this, because this is what was being drilled in me at home and in school, I wasn't able to really acknowledge the sports and whether he was the popular jock. She was like, I didn't really know.
I knew that in church he was the man. Right. And I was just sort of sitting there like, oh my gosh, he is so cute.
And so much so that she talked about the first time that they really interacted, and she said that she was going to give him some candy from Canada or something because she's Canadian, and so that he could taste it or whatever. And she went up and just sort of handed it to him and didn't even really say anything. Her nerves were going so crazy because she was around him, because she had this huge crush on him.
Right.
And even when they first started dating or whatever, he was expressing interest. She didn't pick up on it because in the back of her mind is like, he don't really like you. Y'all just friends. He just being friends with you. But it was we're friends, but when I'm around you, I have butterflies because I like you so much type of situation.
Okay.
So of course, the first kiss and all that other stuff was shocking. First time he said, I love you. She said it first, but the first time that he said it back and all of that stuff is really ingrained in her mind because the dynamic was, he's the guy that I really like. I just don't think I'm worthy of.
So I don't know that I agree with the whole she thinks she's better than him then.
Now, when Kevin Samuel said that was years ago because he's been passed on after the whole, I don't really get any male attention and it makes me feel like I'm not as pretty. And then she starts doing all of these covers or magazines where she's naked or half naked and stuff. It seems like she's really seeking male validation and male attention from people outside of her husband. Okay. So Kevin Samuels is speaking after all of that is happening as opposed to now when this interview comes out and you're getting backstory. So,
but to me, that still doesn't equate that she feels as though she's better than him.
No, I think that he's saying she's a failed actress and there's a way that this situation normally goes. And here's one of the things. There's the norm for how things normally go that we all can talk about. Then there are the exceptions that have other mitigating factors that may change the dynamic slightly that you may not know because these are personal details of somebody's life that they don't let you know. I see this as her just giving an interview, being honest about what it really is or isn't, but there is another side of it where you see she does crave the attention and she does want to be famous in her own right. She wants to see and understand what she can do and stuff like that. And in today's generation with the modern minded women and the things that are happening now, that is dangerous because the number one reason for divorce is lack of commitment. And a lot of that lack of commitment is they just don't want to work on it, which is where all of the he ain't serving me and I'm not fulfilled. All of those things come from the lack of commitment thing. You don't feel that marriage is worth sticking through it. And when you get the feeling like you should leave because the guy isn't making you happy, these are the things that Kevin Samuels is picking up on and saying, normally in this situation, this is dangerous with the modern-minded woman because she'll just leave and destroy the family. So he's speaking on what normally happens. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more background on what happened in the interview because most of y'all ain't gonna watch it because you don't want to sit up there and watch this woman rattling because to y'all it's just gossip. Most guys don't have interest. So I took the L and I watched it for us, okay? Because normally this wouldn't be my thing, but because of the channel, I go through it. There's one more clip.
There are a lot of people in sports that don't obviously have to go through as much of the conversation around like fame and spotlight as you and your husband have had to. How did being in the spotlight impact your relationship in the early days? Because you guys didn't know how to handle it.
It's a double-edged sword because parts of it have afforded me doors to be open. I obviously have to walk through them and then put in the work to stay in the room. But that I think would be the elephant in the room is like, I'm grateful for that side of things. But on the flip side, I in the beginning hated it so much. I like did not sign up for that. I also always thought like, I didn't know that he was going to end up playing basketball. Like he said he wanted to be a high school basketball coach. Like I thought I was going to be like the girl out there getting it. So I didn't know. And so it just like, it was weird. And sports fans are so different than like maybe entertainment world fans. And oftentimes it's like very ruthless. And so I think I wasn't expecting that either. I remember like one time right after my first was born, she was whiny. So I was like, let me just nurse her in the back seat. And Stefan was putting a bike or something in the trunk. And this woman like opens the car door and she sticks her head in and she's like, I just wanted to see the baby. And I'm like, oh, excuse me. And she looks me dead in my face and goes, oh, honey, you know what you signed up for. And then like shuts the door on me. And I was just crying because I was like postpartum. I was just bawling my eyes out. And I'm like, what? Like, is this what it's going to be like?
Wow.
And so that the beginnings.
Time out. What you mean you know what you signed up for? You don't stick your head in somebody. Now she would have hauled off and slapped the crap out of that person and she would have been wrong, right?
Have you lost your mind?
I'm sorry. You can push play. That's somebody's private space. You don't go, they didn't invite you in. You opened the door and put yourself in their vehicle. Like,
Stupid.
and she's sitting back there breastfeeding. Like, come on, man.
Let's just say where we from. I wish I had my cat. I just went back home.
You don't do that.
I just went back home. Oh gosh, if I could tell y'all about what happened to me when I was sitting downtown North, waiting for these two to come out the hair store. Bruh. If somebody would have stuck their head in my car, especially where I was at in Newark, they would have got the bricks beat off of them. I wouldn't take no chances, bro. You just got to take these lumps in certain spaces. You would have just took lumps.
Yeah.
So you wowed out, whoever that was. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys some background because this whole Ayesha Curry issue is so big. I do think the whole I need male attention a couple of years ago was crazy. I think the Naked magazine covers and interviews where they had these really provocative things of her exposing herself. She wasn't completely, but she was trying to show as much as she could without showing the special parts. And I just don't think that's very becoming of a wife. I think there is a desire there for something more. And she's tried to chase it like a lot of modern women would. That to me was the issue. She was on point when she was doing the cooking show. She actually talked about that in here, about how that all happened, and that was another door that Steph Curry's fame opened and afforded her to do because she genuinely likes cooking, and it became a show on the Food Network, and all of this. All of that came from the opportunity that Steph Curry, being who he is, afforded her, and she was grateful for that. Look, guys, I thought a lot of stuff in my life. I thought I was going to be a great producer. I thought me and Timberland was going to be boys. I thought I was going to be this great comic book artist. That ain't happened either. I thought I was going to be a drummer. I should have known that was not going to happen. I just wasn't even that good. I thought a lot of stuff. I got kids, I got a wife. I had to learn to appreciate what I have. I had to learn to appreciate my marriage. One of the issues and one of the reasons why me and my wife started this channel was because a lot of married people don't talk about marriage in the real sense, what it's really like. When you're there, you're not always there just,
oh, I'm so happy I'm here. I'm so grateful for everything I have. Oh, God, thank you for this house.
No, you're sitting there and after you get the house, you're like, oh, I wish we had like 500 more square feet. I would like an extra room. It would be great if we lived in a neighborhood where we didn't have these jerks for neighbors next to us with this barking dog in the middle of the night. You're not always there like, oh, I'm so happy I have a house. Oh, I'm so happy I have transportation. Because you could easily go, I wish we had 2 cars instead of this one really nice car. I wish the car was bigger like a van because we have so much more that we could do if we had a van. As a matter of fact, I sure would love my dream car so I could zoom around the racetrack and This is real life, y'all. And I know a lot of y'all don't really understand that because you're not married. You don't always sit there grateful for the things that you have. That's humanity. For you, it might not be that. Maybe you need to be grateful for the job that you have because you're able to feed yourself. You're able to pay your bills. Maybe it's not necessarily family oriented, but for those of you who are married or in a relationship, maybe you need to appreciate your relationship. Maybe you blame your mate for the sadness that is in your life because you didn't do what you wanted to do. We all have these things that we have to look out for, and a lot of us don't. We're into these ideologies where we're not married, and we're listening to people who are not married tell us about how to be married when they don't even want to be married, and all they want to do is sleep around.
That part.
Honestly, if you're not married and have never been married, you probably need to stay out of grown folk business because you don't really know what it's like to be in that situation.
Ouch.
You don't. And it sucks because there are people who are not married who have great insight, but then there's always a missing piece. When you're not there, you have this fantasy in your head of what marriage should look like. And guess what? Because we're human, marriage is messy. And I think part of the reason that our divorce rate is so high and why irreconcilable differences and lack of commitment is like the number one reason people get divorced is because we have no clue what marriage is like. But when people talk about what marriage is like, everybody criticizes instead of taking it in, oh, marriage ain't gonna be what I think it is. There is no perfect man or perfect woman. They're gonna have issues. They might wanna go out and do something themselves. Or you might have a wife who all she wants to do is be a housewife and take care of the kids. And you want her to get out there and get a career. Because I've seen both. And I've seen people get divorced for both sides of the spectrum. We don't make sure that the person that we have is who we need. And then when we get what we need, we fight it the whole time because we don't understand that adversity is what builds character. That's a Bible verse too, y'all. I just found that one. It was great. Like that's where you get the comments from Sarah Fontaine or whatever her name is.
If a man came along, he's making $70K, he got a business plan, he got a vision, he's working towards that day in and day out. And you would have to look up at him on all the intangible. Does he get a chance?
No. I would rather be single. This is the thing.
Wow.
Let me tell you why. I have gotten to a certain point because I've built to a certain point. I am disciplined in everything. I'm disciplined in relationship with God, in my emotions, in my mentality, in my energy, in my body, and how I eat. I am very disciplined. And so I would expect that a man is the same thing. Because when you're disciplined, whatever you do the most is what compounds in your life.
And all of these other women who are very successful and they want a successful man who is also all of these other things that men who are not successful are. Because men who are successful don't have have time to be those other things because they don't care. That's why they're successful. But they want the man that's everything. Well, guess what? That's probably why you're going to be single. Not because you don't deserve or you're not willing to work with people and their deficiencies, because for some reason you think that you don't have a deficiency. You're delusional. Delusional. And I don't care if you're a man or a woman. We all have deficiencies. We all have things that when you get in marriage that you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a perfect person because you're not perfect. And I think as long as we're in that mindset that we think we're going to find a perfect person, it's just going to be a bunch of single people online arguing about how they can't find nobody, or arguing about how nobody is actually good enough while people are getting married, having children, having grandchildren, and moving on with their lives. They're still going to be sitting there complaining.
Yeah.
Y'all need to wake up. And I guess as a married couple for 20 years this year, wake up.
Get into.
Yeah.
So a few months after getting married, you just said you
like 3 months.
Okay. What was going through your head when you found out that news?
I was confused because
How are you confused?
Because my OB said expected to take up to a year. And so I'm like, in my head, I heard at least a year. I was thinking we were going to be like bar hopping. It's like, nope, you're pregnant and you're going to be very, very sick. But I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change a thing.
Of course.
But it was not on my bingo card.
And when all this went down, I guess now looking back, what advice would you give to someone listening of how to embrace when your timeline suddenly changes?
Oh, there's no such thing as a timeline, I think, is the bottom line. Things are going to shift. Life is ebbs and flows, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Sometimes stuff's going to suck, but you can always recover. And I think it's important also, sometimes you can feel like you're in your own bubble, or feel isolated, or you're the only person experiencing that thing, but there's always a resource, or there's always a community of people who are experiencing similar things.
What was the hardest part of being a young mom?
I think my identity. So because I have such an entrepreneurial spirit, not being able to call the shots all the time for myself was freaking weird. And then learning how to kind of reset myself to make it all work while still having a family was weird too. But it's made me really resilient and a little gritty. So I'm grateful for it.
I was just going to say, and then we can close this out because I know we've been long-winded. I know
y'all keep on saying y'all want a long video. Here you go. I might chop up some parts for y'all.
But what I was going to say real quick is that people who are not married, who've never been married, and basically trying to tell people who want to be married or who are married basically what to do and how to be in a relationship. It's kind of like kids. So if some of y'all out there probably have kids, you may not have been married, but you do have children. Think about it from that perspective. Before you became a parent, you didn't really understand what it meant to be a parent. I remember after the first year, or not even after the first year, but at least a year or two or what have you, after we had our 2 kids. I remember Mother's Day came around, and I remember I was in Walmart looking at Mother's Day cards, and I was so emotional because I was reading through the different Mother's Day cards to get for our moms. And I found the perfect card for my mom. And I was just sitting there standing in the aisle at Walmart. And I was just reading through it. And I was just wow. It just brought back so many memories. And it just took me to a place where it's just all the things, now that I'm a mom, all the things that my mom did that I never saw, that our kids would never see. I get emotional thinking about it because it's just you really don't appreciate what you don't have until you have it, or it's taken away, if that makes sense. I don't know, but it just made me I'm sorry, y'all, I have a point. But it really made me appreciate my mother because, like I said, of all the things that she's done for me and my siblings throughout the year, I think I've told you guys throughout the years, but I think I've told you guys, it was basically just us. It was my mom and 4 kids pretty much by herself. My dad wasn't in the picture for the most of my life. He only recently came back in the picture within the past, since 11, 12 years of my life. And it was just us. And so she was mommy, daddy, everything, auntie, uncle, it was all mom. And I see what we go through as parents with our kids. And I'm just dang, I'm just so grateful for her. And
y'all don't want that single mom smoke, y'all. Some of y'all women out here I want to be a single mom because I could do everything. You don't want that smoke.
You don't want it. Yes, you can do it because you have to do it, but you don't want to. You really don't want to. But yeah, shout out to moms. I love you, Mom. For those of you who are considering being married, have thought about being married, or if you're out there giving advice or saying certain things, realize that yes, there's certain things that you might be able to speak on, but because you've never been there, you're not going to be able to see the full picture. So just
She
be
said
wise.
it so much nicer and better than I did. You said it so much better. I might even cut mine out. We'll see.
Okay, well, anyway, if you guys made it this far, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Turn on your post notifications and give us a thumbs up, all right? Really, it helps with the algorithm. It tells YouTube that you appreciate what we're putting down.
What? We're putting down.
Quickly back to parenting. I'm gonna ask you a couple random parenting manual questions. Okay. What is a time one of your kids embarrassed you in public?
My daughter, Ryan, we were in a very public place. I'm trying to remember where. I'm blanking because I think this just overshadowed the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But she yelled out Mommy, do you have weaves? Is that a weaves? With an S. Do you have weaves in your hair?
Ouch.
Yes.
You're like, Ryan, thank you so much. Mommy loves you.
Okay, that was random. I put that in there because I thought it was a real parent moment. For those of you who actually have kids and stuff like this.
They embarrass you.
Hey everybody, down in the description, there are 2 links.
One is to a GoFundMe, and the other one is to a video that explains what the GoFundMe is for. Mm-hmm. Long story short, we have a medical situation with our daughter that we have to pay for everything out of pocket, and we could really use you guys' help. If you have the time, we'd love for you to go check it out. If you have the money, the funds, we'd love for you guys to help. If not, maybe you could send a link to somebody else who can help. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Press the off button.